if I want to find the area of R, R is the region in the first quadrant bounded by these two graphs. What you need to do for A, to start this off, we're doing A, what you're going to do is you're going to find out, graph it. You're going to graph these. And when you graph them on your graphing calculator, what you would notice is a square root. Actually, you could probably do this one without a graphing calculator. Oops, it's not down there. Doesn't square root look like that? And then what's the other graph? Well, isn't that x over 3? Isn't that 1/3 x? So isn't that like a slope of 1/3? So even without a graphing calculator, you actually should be able to somewhat graph this. Now, I'm going to call this y2. And the other one I'm going to call y1. Because on my graphing calculator, won't this probably be y1 and this be y2? Are you okay with that? I'm labeling it by my graphing calculator. Now, if this was f and g, would that be easier to keep track of? Yeah. So we have y2 and y1. Now, the key, we need to find out where they cross. Now, if you look at your graphing calculator, we have 2 points right here. Do you remember there's the intersection button on your calculator, and you can find intersection of two graphs? Anywho, this point right here ends up being 0, 0, and this coordinate right here ends up being 4, 9, 3. So those are my two intersection points. You use your graphing calculator to find intersection points. It's a graphing calculator question. Now, I want to find my area inside of here. Now, do you understand? You make your little cross-section thing here. And what you have here, you're making a cross-section. And to find the area of this, the height of this line, and you're adding up the heights. To find this problem, basically, you're going to do the integral. And you're adding up segments along the x-axis. What's my interval? From 0 to 9. And I want to find the area between these two graphs. So won't that be y1 minus y2? y1 minus y2. And won't that be dx because we're going along the x-axis? So what you do is you just write this. As long as you have these labeled, y2 and y1. Actually, I would probably go up here and label this as y1, y2. As long as we have those labeled accordingly, that's actually an answer. And that answer will give you 4.5. That is the area. You punch it in your calculator, you find that, you're done. That's all you have to show. Now, for the next one, B. It wants to know the volume. We revolve it around x equals -1. Do you understand x equals -1 is out here? And you're revolving it around that. If I'm revolving it around this line out here, x equals -1. You have to rethink the equations. So, to do that, revolve it over that. Do you understand you first have to change all your equations? Instead of being y equals, if we're revolving it this way, isn't our section all of a sudden this way? So don't we have to change everything to be x equals? So we have to change each equation. So the first equation here is going to become x equals y squared. There's your first one. And your other equation is going to be x equals 3y. Now, could I call this x1 and x2? Is that okay? x1 and x2? If I'm going to find the volume, I'm doing an integral. Now my interval, if I'm going down, aren't I going along this axis right here? So won't it be from 0 to 3? I'm going to go from 0 to 3 because I'm going from here to here, and I'm doing cross sections this way. Now, do you see this is hollow? The shape is hollow, so it's going to be a washer. and that's dy because we're going down the y-axis. It's hollow, so we have to find out what's our outer circle, what's our inner circle. Now our outer circle, what is that going to be? Well, if we think about this line segment from here to here, isn't it from here to here? Well, isn't this first equation y2? So isn't that 3 minus y? So isn't the outer one 3 minus y plus 1? Isn't it 3 minus y plus 1? Because from here to here, isn't that 3 minus y? But don't you always have a 1 added to it? It's 1 more than 3 minus y. 1 more than 3y. So you always have 3y plus 1. That will give you the outer circle. The inner circle, won't it be this blue line? And isn't the blue line y squared? And won't it always just be y squared plus 1? Because 1 more than y squared. And then could you plug that in your calculator? You could plug that in your calculator. And you do need a pi out front. Thank you very much. Guess what? That'd be very easy to miss that one. I almost forgot my pi. Then you do this in your calculator, and you end up with approximately 130.061. Now, you need to have 3 decimal places. Very, very, very important. 3 decimal